Hey guys, here's the gear for today. We have the Vitos Supercrema. It's a soap from Europe. This is the sample container, 100 milliliters sample container from Connaught Shaving in the UK. And I'm so happy that I made this order. It's pretty cheap. It looks like it's going to last a long time. We're going to be using the Derby Extra blade today. Doesn't have too many uses on it. You can see about 3. And I'm going to put it in this aggressive razor. The Stirling is the head. This is the mongoose handle. Got that from Maggard a few years ago. It's heavy. And we're going to be using the Omega. And I believe this is the 80266, but I'm not sure. If you're concerned about that, check the details in the description. As you can see, it's a relatively small Boar brush, but it opens up pretty nicely once it's filled with lather, and it's comfy. The other Omega brushes that I have are very straw-like, very kind of rough and prickly, and it seems like they'll break in, but it's going to take such a long time. And I like my Simogs and Zeniths a lot better because they're ready to enjoy after just half a dozen shaves or so. And I just don't feel like putting in that kind of effort into the Pro 49 and the 48 and all those guys. The 20102, I think. No, maybe not that one. The other one, anyway. But this one's different. This one, the splay is a little easier. The tips were much softer. How it's different, is it because they stained the bristles, bleached them a little bit or something? They dyed them, obviously, because it has that stripe of darkness there. But let's load up our razor. I don't know why it's different, but it is. It's a very enjoyable little brush, and I'm really happy that I stumbled on it. It came with some other gear, and otherwise I would have never known that there existed an Omega that was different from the other ones that I was familiar with. So here's the Derby Extra. It's a budget blade for sure, pretty cheap. You can get a ton of them. And after evaluating in some different razors, I've kind of put it in the category like Wilkinson's sword. It is a good blade for me in terms of on a budget, in terms of a decent shave on a budget. This time I'm going to put the blade on the base plate first of the Stirling stainless steel razor here, and then see if that's... Now, I wanted to show you this mongoose handle. I've had it for a while. It's a satin finish, or a matte kind of finish, and it's big and long and heavy. And to be honest, I haven't really found too many heads that look really good with it. But this one kind of does. It's not ultra high polished finish. And indeed, the sides of the razor are a satin finish as well. And the bottom is more polished, but then the inside is not. And so, and the look is a little bit more modern with this head, perhaps. And it seems to go with this handle pretty well. And I've found few other heads that do that. And so, man, if it wasn't so heavy though. But the actual handle I'm going to be shaving with is this one from Italian Barber. I think they call it the Super Knurl. And there we go. It's a little bit lighter. And the knurling, this has this barbershop stripe that does really have some decent grip, but I found so often with this kind of stripe, the razor can tend to turn and pivot down, and you can lose a little bit of the grip. And it's just not as secure. This one is going to hold firm no matter what. And I have enjoyed the last time I shaved with this razor 1.5 days ago. It didn't have any irritation after the shave, 10 minutes after the shave. It was because it was an older blade. It was a blade that had 20 uses on it. And today, this is back to a younger one, so we'll see. Had a viewer, Paul Walker, as I splashed my face here with a little bit of water. And he was requesting the Derby blade. He finds it very smooth. Put it in an efficient razor, and for him it's very smooth. It hasn't really panned out that way for me in history, but hey, I'm looking for different blades to try with this razor, so why not, right? I was also going to use the 6S. He has the Rockwell 6S that I've used recently. So here's the Vito. It comes in a red and a green. The other one I think says Super Cocoa, something like that. And this is the Supercrema. So there's a slight difference. And I've used this once or twice, and you can barely even see that the level has gone down. All right, we've soaked the brush in a little bit. I do have my 3D printed bowl. If you want to see the plans for that, it's down in the description with a link and stuff. We've got 40 milliliters of water right here. I probably won't use all of it, but we'll be able to do some subtraction to find out how much. All right, the brush has been able to soak for a few minutes. That should be good enough. Let's do 30 seconds of loading. Okay, just for grins, and I'm in a little bit of a time crunch today, just to make sure okay, 25. We'll do 25 seconds, because this is a pretty concentrated soap, and so I believe that's going to give us lots of lather, even though this is kind of a small knot. Okay, 10 is rolling around right now. We'll take a look at it after 25 and see kind of what it looks like. See, look, it's already foaming up, big bubbles. And that's neither good nor bad. Some soaps do it, some soaps don't. You can even go in there and you look how easy the brush is splaying. And that's 25, and I'll bet that's got enough lather in it. Look at all that. So this is akin to, I believe it's an Italian soap. It's akin to the Cella. You know, that little red tub, the cute little red tub that I've used. Kind of got a coconut, almond kind of smell. I don't like the smell of coconut very much. And so this is kind of more the almond, a hint of coconut, but the almond marzipan, you know, almost cherry-like scent. So we'll just kind of do a little pre-wash with this foam here. And I'm going to rinse off this tub. All right, let's get the lather going. I had never even heard of the Vitos brand, I think, until I saw it reviewed, because somebody on Reddit did a series on these kind of classic Italian crepes, like Vitos and Cella and maybe Velabra. And some of those, it was really the first time I'd ever heard about those brands. And I got on Connaught's website, and it was so cheap to buy this 100 milliliter sampler. I think this also comes in a 1 kilogram block like the Cella does. And so that's why the 100 milliliters is called a sample. And I really did like the performance of it the first time I used it, better than the Cella. And it's looking terrific. I'm enjoying using this jigger. I've used it, I don't know, half a dozen shaves now. It's quicker to add water with the syringe because I know that squeezing it halfway is going to give me a teaspoon. It's easier to control with the grip I was able to use. If I wanted to only put a half a teaspoon of water in there, it might be a little tricky, but usually it's just, I want to add a little bit, or I want to add a whole teaspoon, you know. Usually it's larger amounts. If I get to the point where I need to add just a few drops, this jigger is going to fail me, but that's not usually the case with the way I build lather in the bowl. Now we're starting to see a little solidity now that we've worked the lather up. It's kind of dry, and look at all the craters and things like that, ridges that are just not moving. I can't remember if this one likes to be really wet or if I need to leave it a little drier than my usual. But it sure does look like there's going to be plenty of lather for the job, so that's good. little brush that kind of surprised me. You see it's starting to look bigger, and it does feel a lot bigger on my face, and those nice comfortable tips really help out. And it's getting a little lighter and more airy as we go here. Maybe airy is not the right word, but it's getting less dense as we add more water, less dry looking, more starting to slowly morph into a more fluid type thing. This is my kind of just a natural speed. Sometimes I'll stop and churn a little slower. And maybe that's good for me to do sometimes, just to slow down and relax. But this is just kind of my normal speed right here. Now, check that out. All those craters and peaks and stuff have really reduced. We've got more stretchiness to it, more long, round blurbs. You know, some elasticity there. We're starting to look good. And let's just, why don't we just use this? If I need to add water to my face, I will. So we'll see how the Derby Extra is with the Stirling razor. And I'm going to throw a little bit more water on my face. Yeah, it sure looks like I have plenty of lather. I kind of hope it dies on my face a little bit here so that I can dip into it and use up some more. Oh, my goatee needs to be cut. It tends to hold a bunch of water at this length. But it can be inconvenient. This is just, it's a small Boar brush, but it's very comfy. Totally wouldn't mind, you know, using it on a regular basis. I'd probably rehome the knot into a different handle. Comfortable. It's got some backbone. I'd say medium to slightly medium high, but that's kind of the root of it. By the time you get to the tips, you've got actually a good bit of flex. And so it's comfortable for me, and I do enjoy it. But yeah, I would say that it's got a little bit more backbone than I might attribute to something called medium. And this may be one of the few brushes I have that's like that. And it will expand over time, and like it's with other Omega brothers, it really may take a long time for those tips to really split well. But at least it's, unlike its other brothers, it is comfortable to use right now. And that is why it is still in my den. This lather is just great. It kind of looks perfect. Yeah, look at that. That's good stuff. All right, Stirling. I have been very happy with the first 2 passes with this razor. Just about every time I've used it, it's that third pass where maybe I am kind of stirring up tenderness. This is not nearly as nice as the blade last time I used it, as the, what was it? What did I use last time? Astra, maybe? I think it was an Astra that had 20 uses on it. I tried a Gillette Silver Blue that just had a few uses, and I even rode the cap, and it was almost something I didn't really want to use again, but it was okay. It wasn't as aggressive as I thought it would be, judging from Rod's description of what you should expect. So for me, again, this blade is not being awesome. And I need to make sure, I think I need to make sure I ride the cap with this razor. So if, see, Paul might, people's skin is just different, and he might have a totally different feel with this blade. Just the way it's skin and hair and all those things put together. And rinse. After that first pass, I am feeling a good bit of tenderness and kind of minor stings, because cool water can act as an astringent and kind of let you know where areas are. So I may just do 2 passes with this. My nose is a little stuffed up. I'm not able to really fully appreciate this scent. But, I mean, the lather is just terrific, and it's inexpensive. It's been around for a while. It is, I mean, it's really almost a hard soap. It's pretty firm. I do feel a little bit roughed up. So for me, with the Stirling, this Derby is not a great choice. However, it is a nice, I have used it with other more moderate razors instead of aggressive ones with reasonable success. It's not super smooth, but it cuts well and is comfortable, and since it's super cheap, that's why I kind of relegated it to my list of blades that were good budget buys, because they worked well and were reasonably comfortable and cheap at the same time. Definitely feeling that blade edge. Now Paul was mentioning his Rockwell. He was responding to my recent mail call video that said I got a Rockwell in. And he has one of those too. And so I'm sure that me using it with a Rockwell would be more friendly than this, because the Rockwell 3 is not nearly as aggressive as what I'm doing right now. Yeah, you can feel this wonderful slickness from this lather. Let's do a little touch up right here, and then just call it, because this is starting to generate some razor burn for sure. So I'm going to need the balm. I don't think it's going to be bad enough to I don't think I'm going to feel it half an hour after the shave. And so maybe that's not really all that bad in the scheme of things. One thing I will say is that after the first pass, this was a very efficient setup. It may not have been the most comfortable, but it worked well, because when I rinsed after that first pass, my skin felt very smooth. So a lot of the stubble was taken down in that first pass. With aggressive razors, one of the places in my beard that I will leave alone sometimes, I don't feel like trying to get them. Right here, my beard line kind of stops, but just below that, there are 20 hairs, something like that are more sparse, but they're sitting on this skin that is just very loose, and I have to be much more cognizant of making sure that is flat when I shave that area. With the part under my jawline here, often just a chin tilt up and away is enough to make the skin tight enough where I can just breeze through it. But any lower than this line right here, and it's something I have to be very thoughtful of and premeditated to make sure I don't get irritation. And those hairs did not get cut very well. But up here in my trouble spot, next to my Adam's apple here, it's a hollow area, and so that doesn't have a lot of support behind the skin there. That's done reasonably well with just the 2 passes. So again, this is one of those cases where the high aggression makes me want to quit early, because I don't even want to do a 3rd pass. A little too much tenderness. I feel like I'd be asking for a ton of razor burn if I did that. All right, but nice, wonderful creamy lather. Got to put another use on that brush. I think it's about 24 uses, so it's still got plenty of ways to go. It is part of that group since it represents a certain kind of omega that I find very comfortable and enjoyable. It's definitely in my group of about a dozen Boar brushes that I'm raising up all together in terms of use count so we can watch how they behave. But unfortunately, with so many, it means it's going to take a while. All right. Well, the razor felt very balanced, but I feel like, I feel like I was able to keep it light, but I think the blade just didn't agree very well with my skin in this particular razor. But I'm glad I tried it out. The Derby is one that gets trash talked by a lot of folks online, and that's okay. But I don't like how people will say it's a bad blade or a dud or junk when it's subjective. It's a decent blade for a lot of people. And, I think I like to use the terminology like it just didn't work out for me. And that way a person can read that and not think that they're actually junk blades. But especially when they're cheap, they definitely should be tried out by pretty much everybody to see if they match you, and try them out in every single one of your razors, because it could behave very differently in different razors. How much water did we use for this nice lather? Yeah, it's a perfect lather. I think it was about the perfect amount if I were to do a 3-pass shave. So really nice lather today. Let's see how it ended up. We are looking at 4 teaspoons, 4.5 teaspoons. Yeah. 4.5 teaspoons of water at because I think we're looking at 23 or so milliliters. All right. I'm going to clean up my gear. I wanted to show you guys the Mongoose handle. This handle just works really well. The Super Knurl from Razor Rock. Also, if you're thinking about getting it, you can bide your time because they often have it on sale at Italian Barber. I don't shop at Italian Barber a lot. They do sometimes they remove negative reviews, and so you don't get a good idea about, sometimes they remove negative reviews. You don't get a good idea about the products. And so definitely research products outside of their website to get a more true idea of the actual products. But sometimes their sales are just crazy and I have to go and buy them. All right. Oh, hey, yeah. Aftershave. Since this is the daytime and I've got a whole day to enjoy whatever I try, and I've been happy with the kind of the medicinal properties of these aftershave splashes from Saponificio Veracino. It's a sampler pack that I bought recently. I tried the Desert Vetiver, and it stayed with me for a long time, gentlemen and ladies. Let's go with Cosmo. Why not? Cosmo is a soap that they have, and I do have that soap, and it smells great. Many of their soaps are kind of light and cologne-y, I think Cosmo might be one of those. See if I can, tear it open with, my hands are clean enough to where I didn't slip. And I've been pretty happy with this aftershave formula with these samples. It seems to have maybe a little bit of glycerin in it to where it's not just an alcohol splash. And the Desert Vetiver it did kind of have a deserty kind of feel to it. I'm getting a little bit of stinging. There is some alcohol in this, but it's not too bad. That Desert Vetiver stayed with me for a long time. I was able to still smell it on my hands for 10 hours after I put it on. I like to rub. I do like to smell it the rest of the day. Yeah, that's neat. Cosmo. I'll probably smell it more a little bit later. But yeah, happy with that. The desert vetiver did have kind of a warm, the vetiver wasn't super strong, but there were some kind of warm, spicy notes, but not warm in a nice kitchen way, a comfortable kitchen way, more of a dry, hot way, And so desert, I believe, is pretty accurate for that one. And I did get to where it was a little too much. At first, I liked it a lot, but it was one of those scents that was kind of spicy enough. And I don't mean peppery spicy, I mean kind of that whole realm of spices. It was enough to where I kind of I wanted to be done with it after half an hour, 45 minutes. Oh, the Cosmo is nice. Yeah, it's very wearable. That'll be fun to smell for the rest of the day. And I'm happy with the performance of it. And I'm sure, like many of the SV products, I'm sure it's pretty expensive. And so that's why I just got these samples. All right, well, there we go. I'm going to put my gear away. Yeah, this one has some backbone. I have other Boar brushes like from Simogue and stuff. And so at this point, after this many uses, after a stropping, there'll definitely be more hairs leaning out the sides and starting to open up. And so it still has that backbone in there, but the tips, the part up here is soft enough to where it's giving me that comfy feel and it's enjoyable. So this little Omega, does it have the number on it? No, I actually had to look this one up online to find the number. And the handle is okay. This little kind of sharp edge right here is a little bothersome, but it's not too bad. It's a pretty standard handle shape, and I've got big hands, and it works okay. But I definitely plan to, if this knot continues to be enjoyable, I bet it will. I'll plan to cut this handle off and put it in a nice, put it in a better one. All right. I think, yeah, and the soap, just kind of that almond scent with a hint, a hair of coconut, and Vitos. There we go. Yeah, nothing. Nothing. Oh, now you know what? It doesn't really have all that many ingredients, and this could be important for some of you folks. Just stearic acid, hydrogenated tallow, potassium hydroxide, aqua, sodium hydroxide, sodium hexametaphosphate, benzoic aldehyde, and talc. I mean, that's it. It's a relatively short list for many soaps out there. So that's, and that they're able to do such a great performing job with that is very nice. Very nice. It's a very light scent coming from this splash. If I bought a normal size bottle of this and it was tough to spend the money to do that, I would probably be disappointed because I'm not able to, and now this is just within the first few minutes. It could be that it's something that I am able to kind of smell throughout the day, so not fully pulling in judgment there, but my guess is that I would feel a little bit like I wasted my money because I wasn't able to enjoy the product due to the lower strength. Would be my guess. But if you're going for something mild and whatever amount of money you need to spend on it is acceptable to you, then go for it. Go for it. It has seemed to be nice for my skin. I have oily skin, but the splashes I've used so far, I felt good about them. And I'm not really feeling just a little bit of irritation in this area here, but it's greatly reduced. It's almost gone now, so not bad. But I would not try this combination again, just because there are so many more that are a lot more comfortable. All right, guys. Well, I hope there's been something in this video to help you out. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys take care. Have a good day.